I've had a lot of people ask me what my story is and why I chose to become a vegan, eating a whole foods, plant-based diet. And so I'm going to tell you my story today. It's a personal one, and I'm kind of scared to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and share my story with you today. My name is Annette McCrae, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I embarked on this journey of eating whole food, plant-based, vegan diet. I was a completely different person on the inside, and I'm going to share my health journey with you. It took me a long time to get where I am today. So to start off, I would have to say that I grew up eating the standard American diet, which includes meat, eggs, cheese, lots of cheese, by the way, and all the processed foods that you can think of. Looking at it now, it was really no wonder that my whole life I struggled with my weight. So to try to control my weight, I went on diets, right? But little did I know what was going on the inside of me and what was to come. The first diet that I can remember going on was Weight Watchers, and my mother took me to it, and she and I did the diet together. And yes, I lost weight as long as I was following the diet and measuring my food and portioning out and all that sort of stuff. But of course, I didn't continue with that, and the weight returned. And throughout my life, this was the struggle. I would stick to a diet, lose some weight, and then it would come back. Personally, I can say that I have been on at least 7 types of diets before becoming plant-based vegan. And I can also say from all of those diets, I didn't learn one thing about nutrition. Oh, I learned how to count calories and to weigh and to measure and portion, but I really learned nothing about nutrition, and certainly didn't learn how foods can help prevent disease. And so this was the case in February of 2005. At that point, I must have weighed anywhere between 250 and 270. I don't really know because I never stepped on a scale, but I can tell you this. I was in a size 22 to 24 dress size, and I was going to the gym, and I was following the Atkins diet and having very little success. So I was probably on the Atkins diet about 2 years or so. For those of you who may not know, the Atkins diet is very similar to the keto diet that people are so crazy about today. You eat a very high protein, high fat diet and avoid carbs. So in 2005, I began having pain in my arms, in both of my arms. Now, when I say pain, I mean that funny sensation that you get that's similar to when your foot falls asleep. It's tingling, burning, etc. And it wasn't a sharp, piercing pain. It was a lingering, dull, tingling, and very aggravating pain. And these sensations continued for about 2 weeks on and off. And then early one morning, I was awakened out of my sleep with extreme sensations on both of my arms. More on my right than on my left. And I got up early and I thought, I'll just take some Tylenol when I get to work. I'll just go into work early because I had quite a commute and I'll beat the traffic. What did I do? Got into my car and started driving to work. And about halfway there, I realized that my right arm was not really functioning, and that really scared me. That's when I realized something was very wrong. I can remember driving and thinking to myself, I need nitro, I need an aspirin. And I don't even know how I knew that. And I started praying, oh God, please protect me. Don't let me kill myself or anybody else on the road. So I got to my workplace, and as I walked into the building, my stomach started getting nauseated. And that kind of freaked me out too, because I was the only person in the building, and I knew that was not a good sign. So people started coming in, and I waited for my boss to show up, and I explained to him what was going on, and he put me in his car and drove me over to the hospital and dropped me off at the emergency room. It was a Monday morning. The emergency room was empty. There was nobody there. And I went in, except for me, and I went in and told the nurse at the counter what I was experiencing, and they immediately took me in and ran blood work on me. Well, within a half an hour, they came back and told me I was in the process of having a heart attack, and they were going to admit me to the hospital. This was totally shocking to me. Now, keep in mind, I was only 48 years old at the time. So I found myself in the hospital, and the rest of the day and night, it was hell. Because my heart attack was like waves on the ocean. It would come and then it would go away. It would come and go away. And it must have been about midnight or so. The doctor came in and told me that they were going to do an angiogram on me the next morning to find out what was going on the inside of my heart. Well, during the angiogram, they found 2 of my arteries were blocked, or occluded as it's called. One was 90% occluded and the other was 70% occluded. While they were in there, they put a stent in the worst of the 2. And then they sent me off to ICU. Later, when I met with my cardiologist, he told me that they would monitor me for a year and then decide what to do with the other artery if it was necessary to do anything at all. So he would give me a diet to follow, exercises to do, and cholesterol-lowering drugs to take. So I ended up on another diet. It was the Mediterranean diet. Now, I was terrified of having another heart attack, so I followed it to the T. I was exercising every day of the week. I was taking my medications. I was following the diet, and I was determined that I was going to go back in a year and be given a clean bill of health. No further surgeries necessary. Well, that didn't happen. So after the year was up, I went in for the scheduled visit, and they hooked me up to the EKG machine and the heart monitor and put me on the treadmill and started the test. And not too long into the test, the nurse started asking me some questions. Are you in pain right now? No, I said. Are you experiencing any shortness of breath? No, I said. Are you dizzy? No, I said. And then quite abruptly, she shut off the machine. You just failed the treadmill test. Your artery is still clogged and you'll have to have another surgery. A few days later, I was back in the hospital for a second surgery, a second stent in the second artery. Let me tell you, I was so discouraged and depressed. I felt like a failure. I had done everything the doctor asked me to do, and my heart disease hadn't gotten any better. The Mediterranean diet might have been a step in the right direction, but as I found out later, it did nothing to reverse the heart disease. And the Atkins diet that I had been following for over 2 years had only accelerated the coronary artery disease that was already taking place inside of me. Now, looking back at it and knowing what I know now, if I had been paying attention like years ago, I might have been able to see it coming. After all, the writing was on the wall. You see, my family health history showed all the indications of what could happen to me, and it did. Let me give you a brief overview. I never met my maternal grandfather because he died before I was born, and he died of diabetes-related issues. Who knows what really caused his death? I can remember my mother telling me that the doctors back then told her that he had too much sugar in his blood. My maternal grandmother also had diabetes and suffered many years having strokes, which left her completely debilitated and ultimately caused her death. My uncle, on my mother's side, had quadruple bypass surgery done in the 1970s, and then later years also had to go back and have stents put in those veins that they used to bypass his clogged artery. My mother herself had type 2 diabetes and died of coronary artery disease. My own brother also had quadruple bypass surgery just like my uncle, and the doctors told him that his heart showed that he had had multiple heart attacks throughout the years, of which he was not even aware. And then there's me. 2 heart surgeries, 2 stents in 2 of my arteries. And by the way, all of these health issues are diet related and preventable. So, after discovering all the disease in my family, I made my mind up to change things. I did not want to go down that path any longer. So I started doing my research and reading about heart disease and diabetes. I wanted to know how to prevent the diseases in my own life and, if possible, reverse them. In the process of doing my research, I came across Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. And then, not too long after that, I read another great book called The China Study by T. Colin Campbell. These 2 books have changed my life because they help me understand nutrition and how to prevent and reverse further disease by eating a whole foods and plant-based diet. But I still ate cheese, dairy. That was a hard one to give up. And I still included oil in my diet. But after a few months of being a vegetarian and having some more blood work done, I realized that my numbers were not where they needed to be. I just had to go full bore and give up cheese, dairy, and oils, just like the doctors had said, if I wanted to see my numbers come down and my heart disease reverse. It's been a slow and long progression over 10 years, and I'm happy to say my heart disease has reversed, and my cholesterol numbers are good, and I'm no longer on a diet because I'm eating for my health. Looking back at my weight, I could probably estimate that I lost over 100 pounds by adopting plant-based nutrition and giving up oils. At first, it was hard. It was. I even had to relearn how to cook. I had to learn how to make foods taste good without adding all that cheese and fat and butter and oils. So what I did was I attended a weekly cooking class at a local Seventh-day Adventist church, and that helped me get started. It really did. This nutritional journey of mine has become a passion in my life. It has prompted me to write a cookbook and start a YouTube cooking channel where I talk about nutrition and show people how to cook good tasting plant-based foods. Well, I hope that my life story will inspire you to do your own research and take control of your health. If you're interested in changing to a whole foods plant-based diet, one way to do it would be to partake in a 21-day Kickstart program. I suggest you go to pcrm.org and take a look at their 21-day Kickstart program. It's free. Give yourself those 21 days and see how you feel. You know, it's not all about weight loss. It's all about health. But the key to losing weight, being fit, and healthy is your nutrition. Take your nutrition seriously and thrive in health. This is Annette signing off for now. And remember to invest in your health by eating whole, unprocessed foods.